What's up everybody, Damon here, and in today's gaming news, a couple gamers didn't want their crew cut. The creator of Secret Level comments on that Concord episode, and there's a new shade of Steam Deck in town. This is your daily fix. Ubisoft is being sued by two gamers here in California over its shutdown of open-world racing game The Crew back in March. A class action lawsuit spotted by Polygon was filed November 4th by Matthew Castle, who bought The Crew from a GameStop in early 2020, and Alan Liu, who also bought it from a GameStop but in November 2018. Both plaintiffs were under the impression they were paying to own and possess the video game The Crew instead of paying for a limited license to use The Crew. This license over product argument will likely be at the crux of Ubisoft's defense. The lawsuit reads, imagine you buy a pinball machine, and years later, you enter your den to go play it, only to discover that all the paddles are missing, the pinball and bumpers are gone, and the monitor that proudly displayed your unassailable high score is removed. Turns out the pinball machine manufacturer decided to come into your home, gut the insides of the pinball machine, and remove your ability to play the game that you bought and thought you owned. Even though you paid full price to receive this game, you never knew that the manufacturer could come in one day and, without your control, leave you with the skeleton of what you thought you paid for. Very colorful lawsuit language. The Crew is indeed no longer playable. No version of the game, whether it's physical or digital, can be bought or played in any capacity. Ubisoft has taken measures to create offline versions of The Crew 2 and The Crew Motorfest, but no similar action was taken for the original, rendering it non-existent. The lawsuit seeks monetary relief and damages for those impacted by The Crew's shutdown, but only time will tell if it is successful. Ubisoft declined to comment when contacted by Polygon. I would guess that the first time these gamers booted up The Crew, they were greeted with a long terms and conditions agreement, which they probably didn't read, that explained they had purchased a license to play The Crew and not the game itself, and that Ubisoft reserves the right to shut down the game at its discretion. Storefronts, including Steam, are now adding an upfront warning to customers that they're buying a license, not a game, ahead of a California law going into effect in 2025. Moving on, Tim Miller, the creator of Amazon's upcoming Prime Video animated gaming anthology Secret Level, has spoken out for the first time on the series Concord episode. Secret Level is out next month, while Concord was out for just 2 weeks back in August, before it and eventually its developer were shut down. Concord, a live service hero shooter from Firewalk Studios, has gone down as one of the biggest flops in PlayStation history with disastrously low player numbers. One estimate suggests it only sold around 25,000 copies. Still, as confirmed by IGN, Secret Level's Concord animation will launch as part of the anthology, now offering a glimpse at what might have been had the game itself been a success and continued to expand on its story. In an interview with Rolling Stone, Tim Miller, who is one of the driving forces behind Netflix's Love, Death, and Robots, said he had no way of knowing what would happen to Concord during the 3-year development of Secret Level. He insisted there was never a consideration to pull the Concord episode from the anthology. He said, there was no nicer, more invested group of developers than the team on Concord. I honestly don't understand why it didn't work. I knew that they were trying to do the best they could, and they were a talented group of artists, so I feel terrible for that. While Concord was primarily a live service hero shooter, it took a stab at telling an overarching story through cinematic vignettes that were designed to go live over time and flesh out the game's sci-fi universe and characters. Concord got through just a few of these cinematics before it was hauled offline. As it stands, Concord's Secret Level episode may be the last Concord anything ever released. Miller had some kind words for the developers at Firewalk if that does indeed end up being the case. He said, I don't feel bad that it's part of the show because I think it's an episode that turned out really well and you can kind of see the potential of this world and the characters. If it's the remaining vestige of that product, I hope the developers feel that it's in some way worthy, just a little bit, of the blood, sweat, and tears they put into it. And finally today, the Steam Deck is getting a brand new color starting next week. Valve has announced that a white version of the Steam Deck OLED will be available in limited quantities starting November 18th. The newly revealed Steam Deck OLED White Edition will have all the same specs as the 1TB model and will be available everywhere the Steam Deck currently ships, including Australia. Valve said in its announcement, last year we released a smoky, translucent, limited edition Steam Deck OLED as an experiment to find out if there was any interest in alternative colorways. There was. This is our second experiment along those lines. The difference this time, aside from color, is that we're able to ship the limited edition white to all regions where Steam Deck already ships. We're curious to see what the response is, and we'll use what we learn to inform future decisions about any potential new color variants down the line. The white Steam Deck OLED is a limited edition, with Valve saying once we're out, we're out. It plans to allocate stock proportionally across each region and will restrict purchases to 1 unit per account. Eligible accounts must have made a Steam purchase before November 2024 and be in good standing to be eligible. I love my Steam Deck. This color looks cool, but I would worry about it getting dirty and smudgy. Let me know in the comments if you plan to try and get one. And that is your Daily Fix for Tuesday, November 12th. Now that you're caught up on the news, watch the new gameplay deep dive on Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I'm Damon Hatfield, and for all your video game news, stay tuned to IGN.